tape shit. We knew that Rockbox was huge when Rockbox got us on MTV.
So it's that big rock guitar rap combination that propelled Run DMC and hip hop into the mainstream.
That's what it took to break the color line.
Brought white people and black people together.
2 turntables and a microphone. That's all it took to change the world.
Music, in 1984, the weapon of choice was the distorted guitar. Artists like Def Leppard, Prince, Quiet Riot, AC/DC, Van Halen's Jump, U2's Private Love. You had like all these rockin'
Springsteen.
Yeah, Springsteen's Born in the USA. And then here comes hip hop. There was LL Cool J's I Need a Beat, Fat Boys, Jailhouse Rap, Friends by Houdini, but the Godzilla in that world was no doubt Run DMC and Rockbox.
It broke ground for a lot of reasons, and obviously the rock was a big part of it.
It just sounded like something we had never heard before.
Of course, the history books will always have Walk This Way as the crowning achievement. But you gotta understand that if it weren't for Rockbox, there would be no Walk This Way.
Rockbox got us in the room. It brought the metal, the punk, it brought white people and black people together.
Rockbox is Picasso. Still my favorite record to this day.
Prior to Rockbox dropping, music was metal's over here. Only metal people can do metal. Hip hop's over here. Only hip hop people can do the hip hop. The rock and the punks, everything was separate. But prior to recorded hip hop, we used to rap over rock beats in the park. In a typical DJ straight. It was disco records, it was funk records, it was R&B records, jazz records. And then there was this song called Big Beat that all the DJs played. I just knew Big Beat was dope. So prior to us making Rockbox, we wanted to make Big Beat. And it wasn't until I got into business that I found out that it was Billy Squire was the name of the white rock guy that made the Big Beat record. The thing that attracted me to Billy Squire's Big Beat was a cassette tape of a live Treachery Street show was playing. Boom, 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 boom. And Mo D came on and said, "Can you find an MC better than me, Mo D? Can you find an MC better than me?" And it's playing, boosh, but it's the roughest, hardest thing that I ever heard. And just that attitude over this boosh.
You can't think of a harder thought than Daryl in your face, pissy drunk off All English going,
boom, boom. We gotta make that, Joe. H is for Hollis as in Hollis Town. O's for only homeboys are down. L is for ladies who are looking so fine. And other L's for laughter when you're sipping good wine. I is for in, don't you never leave out. S is for the crowd that likes to shout. Even before Run DMC made records, Hollis had a reputation.
I wasn't allowed to go to Hollis Avenue because there's going to be some dope fiends. And that's me at 9, 10 years old. You're not going to get any candy.
When crack came to Hollis, for the first 6 months, it was like paradise. And what I mean by that, everybody had money, nobody was fighting, everybody was fly. But in that 7th month, it looked like a nuclear bomb hit here. Everything good was totally destroyed in Hollis, Queens when crack got here. Which was no different from any other neighborhood. But even in a dirt poor ghetto, where all of these things exist, is some goodness. Unemployment at a record high, there's wars going on. But also, you can be cool if you go to school. Me and Run went to the same school, but we was never in the same class. It was the only Catholic school in the middle of Hollis, and that wasn't good. We got our uniforms on, white shirts, blue tie, blue pants. You got a big book bag that says St. Pascal Baylon Elementary on it. So you was a mark. You was lunch and dinner for all the public school kids. We had one basketball court that was in the schoolyard at St. Pascal Baylon, and it was safe for us. But in the 7th grade, the wind breaks, and now the kids at St. Pascal's have nowhere to go play basketball. So now we don't gotta go to the park to go to John McDaniel's house to play basketball in my backyard. One particular day, Joseph Simmons came over alone. We played basketball. After we played basketball, I went inside.
DMC had turntables in his basement. Nobody else had turntables. Nobody else could afford them. But D had dope turntables and a lot of records.
So immediately he's like, yo, my brother's Russell Simmons, man, and he manages Curtis Blow and Houdini. So he starts telling me, in the summertime, Curtis Blow brings me on the road with him, and I come out and I DJ and I rhyme with Curtis Blow.
So I must have been in 9th grade, DJing for Curtis Blow on the weekends. It was a big deal. I mean, I was blessed. I was really fast on the turntables, and I was really good on the mic. I was young and fly and ready to rock.
9th grade, I went to school in Harlem. I was a straight A student, A+++. I'm getting this overwhelming education of what hip hop is really about. Grandmaster Flash made the message. It was all about the struggle, the struggle, the struggle. But then I started hearing the funky 4+1. Didn't have the echo chamber, yes, y'all. But to the beat, y'all, I got my cornfield going in my Adidas. And I was like, oh, we could write rhymes like that. We would get out of school 2:10 and then go in my basement and DJ. I'll never forget the day. We was eating potato chips and peanut butter and jelly. So it was my turn to DJ, running, sitting there waiting for his turn, and he just starts picking up my school books. I was Easy D because it was easy for me to write rhymes, and my name is Darryl, begins with a D. So I had all of these Easy D rhymes in my book, and Ron finds my book and he picks it up.
And I'm like, oh, snap, D got dope rhymes too.
And it was like a movie. He goes, when Russell lets me make a record, I'm gonna put you in my group. And it echoed. And I remember looking at him, but it went in one and out the other. In my mind, I was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I graduate from Rice High School. I get accepted to St. John's University. Huge in my family. I run home, the first thing I do is sit down and write a rhyme about it. I'm DMC, in the place to be. I'm going to St. John's University. And since kindergarten, I acquired the knowledge. After 12th grade, I'm going straight to college. I'm light-skinned from Hollis, Queens, and I love eating chicken and collard greens. So I wrote that whole rhyme. Right after I wrote that rhyme, the phone rings. It's Joe. Yo, D, what's up? Remember 4 years ago when I said if I make a record? Oh, yeah? Well, Russell's let me make a record. Grab your English book. We're going to the studio.
I told Russell Simmons, who's my brother, I got a partner that I want to make a record with. Me and D kicked the rhyme for him and his man Spuddy. D kicked his rhyme, I kicked my rhyme, and from there, they was like, this is a group.
We're going to start doing shows. Y'all need a DJ. Ron was like, oh, shoot, I didn't think about that. So our original DJ choice was actually Darnell Smith. But then a day later, he calls back and says, yo, I can't be your DJ. And Ron was like, yo, what's up? Smith was like this, yo, I got a job at the post office. We needed a DJ. Ron's next choice was Jay.
I used to go up to Jay, yo, man, I'm going to put this group together. You're going to be my DJ, because he was a DJ out there, too. He brings stuff. He's like, all right, Joe. Yeah, right. You know, nobody knew if I was going to really get a record deal. And when I got the group together, I went back and got Jason Mizell.
If Jay was up here in Hollis and one of the bullies was messing with a normal kid, Jay would stop it. So Jay was kind of like the mayor of Hollis Avenue because, look, he did it all. He played ball, he DJ'd, he ran with the hustlers.
Jam Master Jay was a very cool dude. Him and his crew at that age, they was running things in their age bracket.
And then Russell goes, yo, we're going to do an album. And just remember, it was a period where everything was just singles.
We put out Sucker MCs with B-side of It's Like That.
We thought it was going to end there, but it kept going.
When we did our interviews, people would say, or you guys are young and you just got out of high school and it's your first year in college and you took a leave of absence, what do you really think you're going to be doing in 5 years? You should consider staying in school.
Suck MCs exploded immediately. It's Like That was a nationwide record. Suck MCs smashed New York.
The first album sold 900,000.
We put out Jam Master Jay with B-side Hard Times.
And we were like, yeah, we consider it. We'll just go back to school. You know what I'm saying?
The second one sold a little over 900,000.
So once we did that, we thought it was going to end there.
And then we made an album in '84.
Self-titled Run DMC. And then we did this album. Okay, I'm so okay, it's definitely going to end there.
And then came Rockbox.
Russell had Profile release Rockbox as the crew's third single in March of 1984.
And that whole thing changed the whole game.
This new one has sold over two and a quarter million.
We literally opened the doors for this thing here. Right now, we live it.
Yo, we're going to do this album. So going from Queens to the city was like a big adventure for me. When we was in the studio, Larry Smith, hip-hop's greatest producer ever that nobody knows about, said, yo, D, come here.
Larry was Timberland before Timberland. He was Dre before Dre. Because he was doing everything from a rock box to a Freaks Come Out at Night.
Larry was the head producer, and Larry was the bass player for the Orange Crush band. Instead of just sampling the record, they would hire a band to play Good Times over. Hire a band to play James Brown's music over. When we did Rockbox, we was trying to make Billy Squire's Big Beat.
D would always say, today we're gonna make boom, bam, boom, boom, bam, boom, boom.
Where hip hop is in the early 80s, they were finding themselves. Drum machine culture started. The DMX machines. A lot of drum machine sounds had low snare noises. The sound of James Brown, that hip hop would eat up in all the 80s and the 90s, was anti-rock. Yeah, your drum tone was a tighter sound than rock records, like Funky Drummer. But in the early 80s, your approach and your engineering had to be big 80s reverb sounding rock. You were trying to compete with AC/DC and Def Leppard and all those rock bands. Prince also kind of went the anti-James Brown theory by programming and playing his stuff at low tones. It's a bigger sound. That's the sound of Run DMC.
Larry said, I'm gonna let you do the beat. You can finally make your Big Beat record. So he was up to DMX drum machine.